Hello, and welcome to my show, Wrestle Train, Wrestle Junkie, Micah's show. That's what you're on. You're on the Micah show, because I don't know what to call this yet. If it's Wrestle Train or Wrestle Junkie, but we'll explain that later as the show goes on, or this introduction, more so to be exact. So you may be asking yourself, who is Micah? Just who is he? Who? Well, I am a Floridian. Actually, I'm from Texas, but I was raised here in Florida. I live in an apartment with my girlfriend. We're about to hit 3 years. So this set that you see, I ain't got no office. I ain't got no trailer. I'm just a guy who really likes wrestling and is making a video about it. I made a setup so that I try and look as legitimate as I possibly can and just have a good time. I like video games. I like comic books, anime, manga, regular books, even though they're boring. They don't have pictures or anything in them. Hanging out with friends, all sorts of stuff. But either way, I'm just a guy. I'm no Dave Meltzer. I'm no Taz. None of that. I'm just a guy sitting in his apartment on the kitchen table recording about wrestling with his girlfriend sitting over there and his two cats playing and annoying the crap out of me right now. So, welcome to Wrestle Train, Wrestle Junkie, whichever one. I can't really figure out what the title is because there's already a Wrestle Junkie that exists. I changed my name before I figured out that there was another Wrestle Junkie, and it's been inactive for many years, but I don't want to get in any trouble, so when I get the opportunity to, I will more than likely change the name from Wrestle Junkie to Wrestle Train. Anywho, more insight as to why this show is existing, why I'm doing this. So originally, I was a part of a show called PWF Empire. PWF Empire was created by a very good friend of mine, Jay, and it's old. It's been around for, well, it was old. It's been around, I want to say, since 2008, maybe 2009, was when I started watching. And Jay, great host, great guy, great energy and whatnot. And he did many podcasts eventually around this year in 2017 of about a week before WrestleMania, actually. I was brought onto the team to be a part of the show. And I had a lot of fun. I met some great people, did some great shows you can go see at the PWF Empire channel on YouTube if it's still around. And you can see how I was there and how I'm basically doing this here. I'm making this show because while I had fun on PWF Empire, it wasn't long. The show, I was only maybe on 3, maybe 4 shows, and I had a lot of fun. I have many thoughts and opinions on wrestling. I put them always out there. I have many, many things that I say about wrestling. And since the show's over now, I had a little crisis inside of me that was either A, I respect that we ended the show and I just don't do it anymore, which I still obviously do respect the show, or B, I retain my respect, but I create my own platform. And I chose with B because I said A twice. As you can see, this isn't like top tier quality. This isn't like the best. I'm just a dude who likes to dress nice and talk about wrestling, and that's what this is. It's gonna just be a guy sitting here talking about wrestling, having some fun, and doing some stuff, and hopefully entertaining you all who are watching, hopefully, and seeing where it goes. My first match that I ever watched, and it's a very definitive reason as to why I like wrestling and actually love wrestling, was Bret Hart versus Bret Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania 13. I was probably about 6 or 7 years old, and it was amazing. Amazing. It was so cool to see Bret Hart, this guy who just was wearing pink and black. And I'm like, who wears pink? Boys don't wear pink. But this guy made pink look freaking awesome. Facing this other dude who was just bald and angry, and who they just fought. And I remember distinctly Stone Cold bleeding everywhere from his face. And I was just like, oh my God, he should just stop. And the will inside of that man refused to let him stop. The will inside of him made him not submit. Only thing that stopped him was his body. His body was incapable of continuing on the match, and he passed out, and that's how he lost. That was the most poetic story and one of the best introductions ever to wrestling. You did this to me, Mom. You're the one that made me watch that show. You're the one that started this. I love you. You started my problem. Anywho, so I love wrestling for many, many reasons. There's great storytelling, phenomenal athletes. There are things that are the same but differently told. There are characters every which way, all across the world. There are many, 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 many things about wrestling that are fantastic. And it's always growing. It's always getting better. It's always expanding. It's always trying to reach new heights. And some people will say that, for example, it's not the Attitude Era. And they're trying to recreate it. I don't think anyone wants to recreate anything. No one wants to be the second coming of something. You want to be the first coming of whatever you are. And that's what this show is. I don't know what I'm doing with my hands. Either way, that's what this show is. I'm making my own platform and starting something new and trying to see where it goes. And I'm just going to be talking about wrestling. I'm not just going to be only talking about WWE wrestling. I'm a big fan of many, many separate genres. As you can see, I have my WWE paraphernalia here. I have my PWG paraphernalia here. And I have some Lucha Libre here, like AAA wrestling. I'm also a big fan of New Japan Pro Wrestling, and I'm into Progress. I'm starting from scratch, starting with Chapter 1. Chapter 1, from like, I think there's like 50 some odd chapters, and I'm enjoying them. I'm seeing the progression of progress, joke intended. And I just love it. And I like WWE. It sometimes gives me some crap, sometimes some stuff that is just painful to watch, but I still enjoy it. I still find something that I like about it. Sometimes it gives me phenomenal stuff that blows me away, stuff that gets my head turning and gets the gears moving and gets me wanting to talk more and more and more and more and more and more about how much I love it and where it's going to go and what's going to happen and who's going to do what. There's New Japan, which I don't speak a lot of Japanese. As I said, I like anime and manga. And that's about my extent of Japanese. I can understand about 3 or 4 words. And then, so when I'm listening to them on commentary in New Japan, I'm only getting a bit of it, but the one thing that I universally understand and how everyone else can universally understand is wrestling. If you're like wrestling, if you're even interested in wrestling, those guys tell a story just in the ring. They can tell all sorts of stuff just by facial expressions, body movements, arm injuries, all sorts of stuff. From top to bottom, they can really, really explain something in a way that everyone can understand. And I'm going to talk about that because there's a lot of people who do not know what New Japan is or wants to even bother paying attention to it. And it should be spread around. People should know about it. Progress, it's a British wrestling company. I got interested because I watched the UK tournament that involved Pete Dunne, Trent Seven, and Tyler Bate, and as well as Mark Andrews and Joseph Connors and all of them. And it blew me away. And I wanted to see more of these guys. I needed to see more of these guys. I needed to see more of this British style wrestling that people like Zack Sabre Jr. or Marty Scurll or not even just British wrestling, UK style of Aleister Black and Mark Haskins, what's his name, Jimmy Havoc, and all of them. It highly entertained me, and I needed to watch more, so I'm getting into Progress. PWG, as you can see, I have a plethora of material from here. It started because of a gentleman named Kevin Steen, not to be confused with Kevin Owens, 2 completely separate gentlemen. And I bought this, my first PWG DVD, Bola 13. I enjoy their material. They give fun matches. They give super great matches. It's a good step into what indie wrestling is, and just to see the wrestlers pull out all their stops and have some fun, but also progress and show how hard it is and how amazing it is and how the interaction is. AAA wrestling is different. It's tough. I still have yet to find a way to really sit and get it, get a hold of it, but I keep my eye on it, and as well as Lucha Underground and whatnot. it's great, and these are things that will be discussed on the show. I already am on Twitter at Micah Kool-Aid. I at, once again, Micah, my first name, and Kool-Aid, Koolaid. I've been on Twitter since like 2009, writing tons of stuff, and it's just a fun platform. I always am on there. I'm always interacting. I'm always having a good time, and that's just who I am. I'm just a guy who wants to have a good time, have people have a good time, and spread joy whenever I can. And that's what this show is going to be about, just having a fun, good time and doing cool things. So things I want to do in the show are like a subject called Rasslin Fashion. Rasslin as in Rasslin fashion. I like wrestling costumes, like Charlotte's robe whenever she comes out, immaculate, glistening, fantastic. And you need to acknowledge it. Like sometimes it just looks really, really cool. From how Marty Scurll's umbrellas and hats and whatnot, there's just tons of wrestling fashion out there, and just hashtag wrestling fashion, and it's just a good time. Another segment that I want to do is in-ring comics. I correlate a lot of wrestlers to superheroes or supervillains, and you can see that. So what I want to do is have a show where I compare a wrestler, like Sami Zayn, to a comic book character, DC or Marvel. In this case, Sami Zayn, I correlate to Spider-Man or Peter Parker. He's a kind of squirrely guy who really is out of his luck, but is very good. He just always is that one little inch short from being fantastic. He's good. He's great. He's a stand-up guy who will always try and do the right thing. Sometimes he slips. Sometimes he makes the wrong decisions. But in the end, Peter Parker, Spider-Man, he's a great guy, and that's what I think of Sami Zayn. And until he turned heel, and he's a bad guy now, and still not okay with it. But that's a segment I'm going to try and do, and I hope that it'll be fun. And when I compare those two subjects, I'm also going to also correlate them to a comic or something that you can go yourself check out and see why I compare those two subjects to each other. The schedule for the show will probably be every Tuesday after SmackDown. I'll do a show for Raw and SmackDown, and then every Thursday I'll do a show for NXT and 205 Live. Whenever a New Japan show happens, like Wrestle Kingdom, which I'm so excited for. I'm going to do a show about that, or any major thing for Progress, any PWG show that I get, anything that I see, I nip at it, because I love wrestling. I really do. From the bottom of my heart to the top of my soul, wrestling is me. So I hope that you all really liked this video. This is, as I said, an introduction, a step into who I am, what I do, what I like, and how I will try to entertain you all. You're more than welcome to enjoy it yourself. You're more than welcome to not enjoy it, and if you don't enjoy it, by all means, I'll try and adjust. I'll try and make myself as easily accessible and as easily fun given as I can. But if I still can't do it, that's all on you. That's you just don't like me. That's all on you. But hopefully, to the people that do like me and that do like this show, I hope they do enjoy it. I hope that I can keep it going, and just feel free to tell me. So, if you've got any comments, leave a comment down below. Feel free to smash that subscribe button. Ring a ding ding that bell for any notifications of any videos that I put up. That's Micah. This is Wrestling Junkie or Wrestle Train, whichever one I go with. And I hope to see you guys later.